Great congressman, and then he left. He went on to very big things. He did well no matter where he was, and I think they took that away from you last time. I'll be honest with you, Mike. I really do. Don't like to get things going. I don't like to be controversial at all. But they rigged the election on you. Mine was too big to rig. You won. I'm telling you, you won. But you're gonna do great this time. He's a great guy, actually.
What happens when a Senate seat that Democrats expected to keep suddenly starts slipping out of reach? Before we dive into the full story, comment where you're watching from and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Because in Michigan, panic is starting to set in as some Democrats realize this race may not be going the way they hoped. Let's get into it.
Bernie Sanders, who's been barnstorming the country, doing a lot of campaign events, a lot of them with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, actually does energize, does inspire, does mobilize voters out. But let's also consider the source. Bernie Sanders is not saying he's running. Nobody's putting Bernie Sanders out. I do think that Bernie Sanders is going to have a role. I think he's going, he's very influential. He's going to put his finger in the scale, but I don't expect him to run. In the Democratic nomination, I think you're going to see on the stage 10, 12, 15 great candidates, and the people are going to get to vote. I think you are going to see a gay man. I think you are going to see a black woman. I think you are going to see.
But who's going to win is the question.
Well, they're going to duke it out.
Donald Trump is now calling for Democratic Socialists in the United States of America to be thrown in prison and deported, whether or not they're American citizens. His latest Truth Social post is a clip from YouTube saying, quote, "Democratic socialism must be criminalized, leaders deported." Now, when you think about who is a Democratic Socialist in the United States of America, well, the most prominent is Mayor Mamdani, but you also have newly elected, soon-to-be members of Congress, Claire Valdez in New York 7 and Daria Eliza Chevalier in New York 13. You also have Democratic Socialists running for Congress across America, not just Congress, but other higher offices, and also millions of Americans who identify as Democratic Socialists as well. And what the president is saying here is that all of those individuals should face prison time, their beliefs should be criminalized, and that they should face deportation. To have the American president, the leader of the free nation, the free world, do that, well, it just shows where we are right now as a nation. As always, spread the word. Follow along to stay up to date on all the news you need to know about. More to come soon.
The Democratic Socialists of America want to take over this country, and lucky for us, they laid out a plan.
So, number one, they want to eliminate the U.S. Senate. So a whole third branch of government, let's just get rid of it. That's number one. Number two, let's just replace the president and the Supreme Court with an executive and judiciary chosen by and subordinate to Congress. So no more equal branches of government. And then third, amnesty for all immigrants. We saw that one coming. And number four, defunding the Department of War. This is real. I mean, this is coming in a matter of days. And these are the candidates that are winning across America.
It sounds to me like they're trying to destroy America from within. And with that, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Hit the like button and follow for more.
Donald Trump fired the remaining members of the Election Commission. That means the Election Commission can't operate. Midterms are on hold. Remember when I said 2 years ago? This is a fascist regime, and we can't wait for midterms to do something about it? You can't stop a fascist regime by voting, guys. Our system's broken. They broke it. You can't use the system to fix it. Voting doesn't get you out of fascism. The only option is revolution, you guys. I know we have the craziest surveillance police state ever. Y'all waited so long. And it's gonna be more and more difficult the longer you wait. As a sociologist, I am so fucking tired of people not fucking listening to me. Like I haven't been studying how fascist regimes take over for a fucking decade. Voting and peaceful protests don't do shit when you're in a fascist regime. Concentration camps. We are at the last stage of fascism now. Remember when I said we were at stage 5? 2 years ago? Yeah, we're in full-on fucking fascism now.
Let's talk about the DSA policy platform. The Democratic Socialists of America. Are you aware that they want to abolish the Electoral College and the Senate? They want to replace the Supreme Court and the presidency with bodies subordinate to a multi-party legislative system. They want to enact Medicare for all, universal rent control. They want to cancel all student debt and mandate a 32-hour work week with no less pay. They want to provide amnesty for all immigrants and end all deportations. They want to heavily cut defense and military spending. We have already allowed these people to get their foot in the door. Look at New York City. There is absolutely no way our country could sustain such policies. We would become a third world country, and that's what many of these people are hoping for. People hear the words free and they lose their shit. Nothing is truly free. These people want complete and total control of you. You vote your way into socialism, but you fight like hell to get out of communism. Go watch some of the videos that people who have fled communist countries have made, warning people in the United States. You better wake up, folks. You all have a wonderful night. God bless you.
So Donald Trump today just shared a video that calls for Zohran Mamdani and Democratic Socialists like him to be jailed and deported because they are Democratic Socialists. And this is what Trump and Republicans support. Because even though they always love to say they support the First Amendment, free speech, and freedom of expression, here they are directly supporting jailing their own political opponents. This is what they represent. And the reason why Trump and the entire establishment is doing everything they can to try and stop these Democratic Socialists is because they're the only politicians who directly challenge the same status quo that both political parties, both these establishment Democrats and Republicans like Trump represent. They are crashing out and they're afraid of this entire new progressive movement that's actually bringing change in this country. So what do they want to do? Oh, they just want to jail them. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at now at this point. The establishment is terrified of democratic socialism, which is why they're trying to stop it by any means necessary, because they're actively against real change happening in this country, such as taxing the rich, stopping funding to Israel, or even, just guaranteeing people health care. They're trying to stop all of this, but ultimately, I think in the end they're going to fail, because people really want some real change, and Trump threatening to jail them, it's not going to stop it anytime soon.
I find it offensive when there is actually a genocide going on and it is being carried out by the Israeli state against Palestinians, something which is regularly forgotten, that our side are the ones calling for a genocide. We are calling for the ability of all peoples to live free from discrimination, regardless of their race or religion, in this land. That's our call, and that's a call against genocide, against apartheid, against racism. That some people might be willing to misinterpret this, I think, is an attempt to slander the Palestine movement. On the other hand, I don't think the legitimacy of social justice movements rests on them never offending anyone. To take the civil rights movement, for example, I'm sure there were any number of racist white people who claimed that it was threatening to them to have black people in their communities when busing was going on, or who claimed that they were afraid for their children's safety when they were being bused. These examples demonstrate, I think, that the primary concern in a democracy when we're talking about free speech cannot be simply whether somebody's feelings will be hurt by something or not.
I'm just this is my fifth take because I'm just so upset. So I woke up this morning to bad news in a chat that I'm with Abdul El Sayed volunteers. And they've been canvassing and talking to Democratic voters who are now concerned that he can't win Michigan because they are repeating the lies being pushed by Haley Stevens, specifically the United Democracy Fund, which is run by AIPAC. And they single-handedly have been creating the hit pieces. And Haley Stevens' campaign has been promoting it. And when I say that they donated over $40 million in attack ads and then ads to promote her, those ads are hitting now. They're getting ready to launch another $4 million worth of ads next week. And people are watching them. And it's working. And when you compare it to a grassroots candidate funded by us, you know, Abdul can go buy ads, but he has to pay pretty much top dollar, because like anything, when you go in with Haley's money, with millions of dollars, you get a discount on the ads. You get to buy that much more airtime and ad space. And it's working. People are believing the lies. When Haley stood up on that debate stage and spread the lie, sowed doubt, because Abdul applied for an extension to file his taxes, the same extension that Haley has applied for and received every single year she's been in office. And now Fox News and CNN and everybody is running around saying he's hiding something. His wife owns a rental valued at $100,000 in India, and they've got to wait to get the paperwork, the tax required documents from the country of India to get this all finalized. Thus, he doesn't come up with these ideas. Abdul said that she couldn't form 2 sentences on her own. That's because AIPAC and the likes are telling her, when people bash the establishment, compare it to using the N-word. Do you think she came up with that? We've only got 3 weeks left, and they are going to hit the ad space hard.
Unfortunately, I think it's too late for Dr. Abdul El-Sayed to distance himself from the DSA, from the Bernie Bros. He stood by Graham Plattner alongside them way, way too long, and we all know this and we all saw it. The Michigan primary is August 4th. He does not have enough time to make a convincing heel turn and to fully distance himself from the years-long digital footprint that he has established in support of Graham Plattner and in support of democratic socialist policies. He has also been held up and propped up by many DSA prominent figures and commentators. And you can already see in the comments on that video people turning on him, like his supporters. It's bad. But yeah, I'm actually really excited about this. I don't think it's a loss for progress when people...
Fox has learned, this is a big scoop, Fox has learned the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, plan to roll out their brand new platform next week, and we have the details. Let's put it up on the screen, and your jaw's going to drop at the first one here. So, number one, they want to eliminate the U.S. Senate. So a whole third branch of government, let's just get rid of it. That's number one. Number two, let's just replace the president and the Supreme Court with an executive and judiciary chosen by and subordinate to Congress. So no more equal branches of government. And then third, amnesty for all immigrants. We saw that one coming. And number four, defunding the Department of War. This is real. I mean, this is coming in a matter of days. And these are the candidates that are winning across America.
Well, absolutely. And just real quick on the vetting aspect. Yeah, Graham Platter, the people who brought him into the race only vetted him in 3 days. Vetting typically takes weeks. So Democrats are going to potentially end up in the same position they were with Graham Platter. But on this, yeah, Aisha, what they're telling us is they want to dismantle the system from within. And you look at countries like Venezuela, where socialism took over. Hugo Chavez was democratically elected. He promised on the same things we're hearing from some of these socialist candidates on the left, to return power to the people, to fight corruption. And then what happens is they get elected and they do the opposite. The power gets consolidated with these bureaucrats, with these politicians, with this new ruling class, and the system gets corrupted. And, so these same people who say that they want to, empower the people, they don't. They just want to empower and enrich themselves. And these are people who can't get powerful or rich on their own.
All right, Matt, do you believe the Republicans can simply run in opposition to this platform?
Well, I think that it is certainly going to be a new component of what the Republicans can do. I've been saying all along that the fact that the Democrats, if they get in power, they would want to impeach Trump, and that's a major issue that the Republicans should be using. I never knew that they would be given this gift so quickly of socialism. And the problem with this for the Democrats, Laura, is this. If you look at a map of the country, most of that country, if you just how people vote, red, blue, most of that country is red. just small sections around the coastlines and certain areas where you have big counties and big cities, they're blue. And they are the ones that are embracing this socialist concept more than anyone else. It makes it almost impossible for the quote-unquote moderate Democrat, which really there isn't a moderate Democrat anymore, but the so-called progressive Democrat, to possibly contend with the fact that they have to embrace this crazy platform. And so I think the Republicans should put this platform to them, ought to run against them with it, and make them have to renounce it. I don't think they can do it. It's going to split the Democratic Party. It's really going to help the Republicans in the upcoming midterms.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into this because it seems like the left has created a trap of its own making. We got to get into it. And now they are about to find out. They're on the verge of losing seats that, all things being considered, they should otherwise win. But because they are running these far left progressive candidates, because they handed the keys to the Democratic Party to the radical socialists, not so fast. Not so fast. Things are not looking good for them. In states that are not so cut and dry blue, the swing states, you know, the ones that actually determine the presidency, is not really a good idea to have these far left progressive candidates win the primary, because you cannot say the same when it comes to the statewide elections. And that's why you now have Abdul El-Sayed, the likely Democratic candidate, attempting to distance himself from the socialist name tag, even though he wants to stand beside Bernie Sanders, take AOC's endorsement, campaign with Hassan Piker, and has defended the thinking behind defunding the police. And so he has been running on a brand that embraces a lot of what socialism stands for. But now, because he knows Michigan is not a Brooklyn City Council district and is not a safe progressive bubble where the Democratic nominee automatically wins, he's attempting to distance himself. The problem is nobody really believes him, which is why this is great news for Republicans. The whole idea of this blue wave come November, day by day, is becoming less likely to happen the way the left envisioned it. And so, as always, smash that thumbs up button. That's the best way to let me know you enjoy the content. For more, subscribe to the channel. Let's start right here.
Couldn't change the graphic. She drops out and she said, hey, I'm going to hold my support for whoever wins between these two. Well, the reason why that matters is she was kind of running in the middle. You've got Haley Stevens over here at 30, almost 30%. She's supported by Chuck Schumer. She's much more an establishment candidate. You look at Abdul El-Sayed, who we've talked about here. This is someone who's supported by Bernie Sanders, AOC, now Chris Van Hollen, which is kind of a big deal for that tenure of a senator to peel away from the leadership.
We start with your very own words, that you would like to abolish ICE. Now, what I would like to ask you is, ICE is simply the enforcement mechanism for democratically elected laws of the people. Now, for a party who has talked about the threat to democracy, is it your position that you do not want to see the will of the people, the democratically elected laws, enforced?
First of all, Will, you and I both know that immigration law is not criminal law. Immigration law is civil law. It's like getting a parking ticket.
You got attacked by your rivals for calling yourself a physician, not just a doctor, even though you don't have a valid state medical license in New York or Michigan, which apparently is what you need legally to call yourself a physician. Do you wish you'd just stuck to calling yourself a doctor, which you are, to avoid all of this controversy and attacks on your physician status?
You know, at the end of the day, it's not about whether or not I'm a physician or a doctor. The question is, can you see a doctor? It's not about my education. It's about whether or not your kid gets a good education. So I'm just not spending time.
And that's the question hanging over this entire race. If these policies and ideas are as really popular as their supporters claim, then why are candidates suddenly trying to distance themselves from them when the general elections get closer? The next few months will reveal whether Michigan voters are ready to embrace that agenda or reject it. Either way, this race is shaping out to be one of the biggest political stories of the cycle. And if the current trend continues, Democrats may be facing a much more tougher fight than they ever expected.